Hey folks, welcome back to World of Warships Legends. Today we're going to be taking a look at the Tier 8 Italian premium battleship, the Marco Polo. Now, you can obtain this through the current campaign, as of the current moment, as one of the level 100 rewards, and it's between the Marco Polo and the Marlborough. I'm personally going to be going for the Marco Polo, which I'll explain reasons why in this video later on. However, first off, before we go any further, I do just want to say a couple of things. First off, I hope you've all had a lovely Christmas. I hope everyone got what they wanted and spent some time with family, and are wrapping up the end of the year and taking some time to reflect, etc. Now, it seems odd that I've uploaded after it being so long, around 3 months, I believe it's been. I'm not going to go into horrendous detail, however, I have needed to take a break to recuperate mentally, as I haven't been doing so well, to put it in a, just to put it short. So I've needed to take a bit of time there just to focus on myself, and I around winter time I do tend to feel a bit down, and so that's kind of been affecting me a bit as well. However, going into the new year, we're going to think optimistically and try and get things back on track. Now, the second thing I want to say is that going into the new year, is that I'm more than likely going to be rebranding the channel. Now, what I mean by this is, I have a main channel, which the name is Teague Smith. Now, I will link that in the description down below, when I upload this video. However, I've kind of been swapping between the two channels, and I know the name of this channel is a bit hard to pronounce, and even I struggle to pronounce it at times. But essentially what it is my name is Teague in Irish, but I know that it's not exactly the most ideal to try and find, and it's probably better if I kinda, I suppose you could say, rebrand to make it a bit more streamlined. I had considered merging the two channels together, however, considering my main channel is more for just random stuff, if I was to throw in these gaming videos into that channel as well, it'd probably mess up the algorithm, and that's not something I really want to do, so I think I'm going to keep the two channels separate, and I'm more than likely going to be renaming this channel to something along the lines of Teague Smith Gaming. That includes I'll be changing the icon for the channel as well as the banner. I'll also be changing the name of my Twitch as well, more than likely, just so that everything's a bit more kind of streamlined. I also do want to experiment going into other games as well, as much as I do like and enjoy uploading World of Warships content, the game, I get very burnt out of this game, to put it very simply, and it's not something that I can play consistently, so I do want to kind of switch things up a bit, because otherwise I'll feel like I'm having to force myself to make content on this game for you guys, which isn't what I want to do, and obviously it's, it's not good for you guys either if I'm, not giving it my full effort. So there we have it. Now, without further ado, now that we've got all that out of the way, let's jump into the Marco Polo. So as I mentioned, the Marco Polo is a Tier 8 battleship as part of the current campaign, and you can choose this over the Marlborough, or you can obtain it for, I believe it's 10,000 doubloons if you get the Marlborough instead. And you can still pick this up. So bear that in mind, you either get this one with the campaign or you have to pay an extra fee for it if you pick the Marlborough. Now, what this is if I want to put this short, it is essentially a Littorio-class, or a Roma, with basically 16-inch guns. It's a big, standard kind of big, good Italian battleship, but with larger caliber guns on it. with that. But we'll go over its other details just shortly here, but let's take a look at the ship itself. So the benefits, its pros that it has, it doesn't list that it's got any cons on here, but its pros is that it's got big guns. The ship is armed with high caliber main battery guns, which is correct. It's got 16-inch 406mm guns. It has 9 of them. It's obviously got 3 and 2 turrets in the front and 1 turret in the back here. And it's got apparently superior armor piercing damage, above average AP shell damage. It's fast, above average maximum movement speed. So those are the benefits that you've got there towards it, and obviously a lot of the Italian battleships kind of at tier 8, tier 7 tend to be pretty good anyway, so I'm inclined to believe that it is fairly fast, but we'll take a look at its stats in a minute. However, the Marco Polo is a variant of a battleship that was designed in Italy in the mid-1930s, a further development of the Littorio-class warships with 406mm main battery guns. And its year of design was 1936. Now, obviously the ship isn't real, by the way. This is just a further development. The ship didn't go into service. I'm not sure if it was made. I'm not going to look into it. I'm not... but yeah, no, I don't believe the ship actually existed. It is kind of one of them prototype things. But obviously that's kind of the same with the Marlborough both ships in this current campaign that we've got going on. Now, the one thing which divides the ship compared to what I'd say the other ships of the Italians is that its main battery, if we go over to the upgrades here, its main battery can be replaced with the artillery 406mm 50 mod 1940 guns, which replaces the HE shells with semi-armor piercing SAP shells. However, the con that we kind of get with that is it increases the reload time to 36 seconds, which is quite nasty. Considering, some ships at tier 8 have larger than 16-inch guns. However, it's SAP, and what that means is that you're able to really chew into them cruisers, and especially French battleships as well that really don't like SAP, and it unlocks and gives you a few new opportunities that you wouldn't necessarily have when it comes to playing in, say, a Roma or a Vittorio Veneto. Now, the trade-off for that is, unfortunately, the secondary batteries here. What I've noticed is that if you're checking the sides of the ship here, there's not actually a lot of secondary batteries, and that's one of the... What I want to say, one of the downsides of the ship is that you don't actually have many secondary guns, not to mention that those secondary guns are only HE. So, you're not getting that SAP secondaries like you usually would to try and defend yourself against them pesky destroyers that might run up on you, or to deal with enemies in those close quarters engagements. Now, as you'll see here as well, the caliber on these secondary guns are not that good either. So obviously, yeah, no, you shouldn't be relying on your secondaries, and it's probably better to go with more of a standard battleship accuracy build with this, given that it's 406mm guns, and you want to try and get them shots on target. So that's kind of what you're going to be going for with the ship. Now, unfortunately, with survivability, it's fairly moderate. It's 69,000. It's not the best. There's certainly ships which are going to be a lot more higher HP than you, that's for sure. So you do need to be careful. And if we take a look at the ship's armour here, we can see it all around. But let's take a look at where the Citadel is. Now, thankfully, the Citadel actually has... please correct me if I'm wrong, but it does appear to have sort of a turtle back sort of design here, which seems to be angled up, and it does seem to be right on the waterline as well, so I think, depending on where you're getting hit from, you're going to be able to not take on Citadel shots as frequently as you usually would. Which is quite good. I also might mention that I'm also quite under the weather at the moment. I believe I've got the flu, so I apologise if I sound a bit ill. But that is in regards to where the Citadel on the ship is. Now obviously, if it's an angle coming down like this and it penetrates the side armour and goes in, you're gonna be in a bit of trouble there. However, hopefully, given that you should be kind of keeping at range, maybe going front on with enemies, you should be pretty good. Now, going on to AA defense, I think the AA defense is pretty standard. There's not really much to talk about. I think it should cover you just fine. You shouldn't need to worry about putting into any modifications to deal with AA at this sort of tier. Now, in terms of manoeuvrability, the ship is decently quick. It's 32 knots. It's certainly better than a lot of other ships you'll be going up against. However, obviously, this is a battleship. Don't expect it to be some Paolo Emilio type manoeuvrability or speed there, but it's nice to have that speed. And of course its detectability is fairly decent, I want to say, for what it is. It being 15.7 kilometers detectability by sea and 12.5 kilometers by air, so it's fairly alright. Not particularly the best though, when we go all out. Now, in terms of playing this thing, I think what you should be doing is playing this thing fairly far back. I've also checked as well, the smoke here is the exhaust smoke generator, so what this means is that the ship will, just like the Vittorio Veneto, the smoke will deploy on the ship itself, so it's going to be hard to actually spot the ship for a good few seconds. It's one of them moving sort of smoke screens that you're in, which can be quite helpful, but a bit of a pain when you don't have that sap on the secondaries to engage them targets, but it does allow you to get up close and personal, which is very nice. Now, in terms of playing the ship, like I said, I'd probably keep your distance, pick your shots, and try and chew up those cruisers, because you're going to be dealing a lot more damage to those more than your other battleships on your team will. So pick your shots there, and obviously you should be able to chew into French battleships very easily with the sap, with absolutely no problem whatsoever, or at least I'd hope so. In terms of looks of the ship, I really love the look of the ship. I really like the camo on it, very standard for your Italian battleship. We've even got here at the back the Marco Polo name right there in gold, which is nice to see. And but the only thing that I wish the ship had was more secondaries, but beggars can't be choosers. We can't ask for everything on this ship. Now, I am going to be picking up this ship over the Marlborough purely because I don't actually have an Italian premium battleship yet, bar from the Dante Alighieri Black. But, you know, that's a fairly low tier ship. But I do want the ship, and I personally prefer the look of it more than the Marlborough, even though the Marlborough is technically has a higher DPM than this ship, I suppose you could say. But I will decide at the time when I reach rank 100 and go from there, I think. But for the most part, I'll be going with the Marco Polo. Additionally, alongside the ship, you do also, in fact, get a flag along with this ship, which I will quickly show here. Or sorry, not a flag, a patch if you do pick this ship over the Marlborough, and obviously it's there, as you can see. It's a bit hard to see, but you also get the flag as well to fly on the ship, which I really like that we get the flag. But nonetheless, I think that covers up the Marco Polo. I would go into its stats a bit more, especially with the sap damage, but we can't actually look at that damage until we have it equipped, which is a bit of a shame. But nonetheless, I hope you did enjoy this video. If you did, please leave a like and leave a comment down below what you'd like to see on the channel. I hope you all have a wonderful rest of the year, and I hope to see you going forward into the future and into next year. But apart from that, have a lovely evening, and I'll catch you all in the next one.